You're like, back off, Bonnie, don't get it.
Oh, I got this. It's all,
Really?
It's all broken.
Oh, I have all the
I always
bright colors. I love bright colors.
Me too.
All our pretty decorations today. See?
The sparkles.
Bonnie's in the house.
Right.
Oh. And it's one of those things, well, if there's sparkles and sequins, you know I've left my
You're
trail.
gonna
You
have
know
it.
where I've been.
She's coming
like
or
fairy
going.
dust.
She's
That's
coming or going.
that's right. Yesterday, I took a late lunch and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go walk for a little bit. So I walked to the park and I see one of my friends, and another friend was with her. And she goes, I told Miranda, I said, is that Bonnie? And Miranda's like, I didn't even notice you. And then Miranda goes, I noticed the shoes. They're very bright orange. And I'm like, that's pretty sad when people can look at my shoes and be like, yep, they're bright. That's Bonnie. I'm like, hey, I get lost. I'm easy to find, guys.
Yep.
Just did a funny thing. I was in the Wilson County News profile. Darn it.
Wrong
Let me
one.
switch over.
Is that so confusing?
Isn't it here today?
Yes. Not yet.
No,
She'll
no.
be here this afternoon.
I
We've
tell
missing
her I said
her.
I saw her at the Lavernia Chamber last
Yeah.
week
Oh,
with the
good.
nonprofit.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, she mentioned that.
I love missing it.
Tuesday. Okay. All right.
Did Olga retire already?
She did.
Oh.
Yes. But she's not far away. Oh, goodness. Well, welcome back to another WCN Live here at the Wilson County News. My name is Kristen Weaver, Director of Operations, and today my guests are...
Jana Evans.
Bonnie Ramirez, Thriving Hearts Crisis Center.
Great. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate your time away and coming over here to have this conversation.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Before we get started, let me thank our sponsor. We are sponsored today by OBR Metal Buildings and Components, where they literally have everything you need for that small project to big project, all under one roof, and they are located here in Floresville on Highway 181. You can learn more about them at obrmbc.com. Thank you so much, OBR, for your sponsorship of WCN Live these past weeks, and we hope that you are showing them some love and seek them out because they're really great company in our area. Okay, before we start with our introductions, if I could have you draw a winner. So let me explain. As we're live every Wednesday, we ask that you post a comment. You can give us a thumbs up, you can ask a question, and we will try to get you an answer on that. But get your name into the comment contest, so next week's drawing, and you might win. So
Yay.
if you...
Well, Jana was going to do the honors,
Yeah.
but then I think she,
Oh,
was
nice.
excited to do it. So I'm like, okay. Alrighty. Do you want to announce it?
Sure.
Here you
Let
go.
me see who it is. So our winner is Neela Hopkins. Congratulations, Neela. Yay. Yes, I know she's going to be excited. So she will win a C Street gift shop goodie bag, and I'll be messaging you, Neela, later. Unless you pop in on this conversation, we'll say hi. Okay, so let's get started here. If you would please, it's time for introductions. Each of you please tell me a little bit like who you are, where you're from.
Absolutely.
Like that.
Okay, so my name is Jana Evans. Like I said, I'm the new CEO of Thriving Hearts Crisis Center, and I actually grew up in Lavernia, so
Yes.
it's nice to be back here in Wilson County in my
Yeah.
old stomping grounds.
Nice.
So I've spent over a decade of the nonprofit leadership focused on serving underserved populations, and I'm incredibly honored to step into this role and serve communities like this one.
Wow.
And we're excited, very
Yeah.
excited to have Jana joining us in the CEO role.
Almost 3 months
Exactly.
in, so it's been a
And
whirlwind.
she's still here with us.
That's pretty fantastic to have such a big organization and have the CEO sitting right here in our little office. So good to have you here.
I'm honored to be here.
Thanks for being here. And Bonnie?
So I'm Bonnie Ramirez, and I actually used to work for Wilson County News way back when. We won't say when because that'll age me.
And you don't age.
Well, thank you. I'll pay you later for that. But I am our Director of Strategic Advancement, and I've been with Thriving Hearts for a little over a year and a half, and working for us is, well, it's very dear. Our mission is very dear and near to my heart, and it's personal. So I'm very humbled, blessed to be able to be working for Thriving Hearts in this capacity, and just being able to be a small part of being a part of our mission.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both for being here. Well, let's get into what this is. So probably many of our viewers maybe they don't know what Thriving Hearts Crisis Center is. If you would, tell us a little about this organization, where you're located, your mission, who you serve, a little bit of that.
Okay, so Thriving Hearts Crisis Center is, we serve survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and human trafficking across Guadalupe, Gonzales, Karnes, and Wilson County. We provide 24/7 crisis support, emergency shelter, advocacy, counseling, and prevention education. So our goal is simple. We walk alongside survivors from crisis to healing so they don't have to do it alone. So we have our emergency shelter that is based in Seguin, and then we have satellite offices here. One is here in Floresville, as well as in Nixon and in Karnes City.
Wow. Okay.
So if the satellite offices do not have the emergency shelter, but they're able to be connected with our advocates that are there in order to get them to the safety if they need it.
So they could still go there
Yes.
and then get the help from there.
Yes.
Wow.
And we provide residential for the crisis center, like Miss Jana said,
Wow.
but we also provide a lot of non-residential services as well, which goes into what Jana talked about, like counseling, advocacy, court, hospital accompaniment. So we were formerly Guadalupe Valley Family Violence Shelter, but a few years ago our board and leadership at that time decided to rebrand to Thriving Hearts Crisis Center to more encompass what we do and more than just Guadalupe Valley, because we were founded in 1983 because there was a need, and that's just the raw reality. There was a need in our rural counties. So we were founded, but we were our name was Guadalupe Valley Family Violence Shelter. And a few years ago, because we do and we have covered Wilson, Karnes, and Gonzales counties. So to encompass everything,
and then not
we
think
rebranded.
that, well, it doesn't serve me because I'm not in Guadalupe.
And that
County,
could turn away some potential victims, survivors, as we like to call them. And they might think, oh, well, they're not going to help me because I live in Lavernia, I live in Floresville, or I live in Kennedy or Runge, but no, that's not true. So so some people might know us as Guadalupe Valley Family Violence Shelter, but it's still us. We're just rebranded, so it's Thriving Hearts Crisis Center.
Crisis Center, okay. Well, great. So Jana, tell us a little bit more about your new role as CEO. You said you've been there, you're doing this now for the 3 months.
Yes, going on 3 months.
And was that also your initiation to the organization?
Yes.
As CEO, okay. And also with that answer, if you would also give us your vision for Thriving Hearts.
Okay, so my focus is strengthening our foundation. So like she said, us being across those multi-counties, really pulling into the community. We already do a great job of partnering with other, like organizations that are supporting those same population. So just being able to come together and make sure that we can make a bigger impact and making it known that we are in those other areas and that we're there to help every county and not just the Guadalupe, since that's where we've been more prevalent for the last, 40 years. So just making sure that we're able to expand our access to the services, deepening those community partnerships, and increasing community investment to meet the growing needs. So a lot of that is letting the community know that safety can't wait, so we need their support too, because a lot of times nonprofits will depend on the grants and things like that, but sometimes there's delays in those and there's ups and downs and that kind of stuff. So being able to pull on the community to really invest in that, because safety can't wait. So
okay. And I do have a thought off the top of my head, but I don't think it's going to hurt you. But I was just thinking, where will we have maybe come across your organization? Have we seen you? Where have we seen you? And have you, in what way you're working with the schools? Tell us a little bit about where,
our outreach
where you've
and
been
engagement.
Present. Yeah.
Okay. So Janet touched a little bit, but community partnerships are huge for us. They're vital. And that can include law enforcement, whether it's sheriff's department, city police, school resource officers, school administration for sure. But we consider you guys a partner for us because us being here, we're starting a very important conversation, and this dialogue is something that is uncomfortable, kind of a taboo topic that not a lot of people want to talk about or even open or touch, with a 10-foot pole. So you all are a community partner because you all's platform allows us to amplify our voice. So community partners like you guys, chambers, we were, and we saw one of y'all's editor, Miss Nanette, last week at the Lavernia Chamber. They had a nonprofit community impact luncheon.
Nice.
So we try very, very hard. We're a smaller staff, on the smaller side. but we really try to be plugged in all the counties and making sure that people know whether it is Wilson County has an interagency group, so does Karnes County, so does Guadalupe County. And basically what it is, it's a group of like-minded individuals that represent organizations like ours. Some of them nonprofits, some of them maybe not so much nonprofit, but help like our audience and demographics.
Okay, to get
So it's
that.
very important for us to stay plugged in so people know who we are, what we do. And really the biggest thing, sometimes it's just having that physical footprint and being present, because they might not know, even though we've been here since 1983, they might not know we exist. So just them knowing we exist is vital. And that, again, is just collaborating, networking, all of those relationships with all of our partners.
In order to get people to know that they can seek help at the crisis centers.
Absolutely.
In their areas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
if there's services or resources that we can't provide,
Right.
it comes back to, oh, you know what?
We can't, but
We
this
can't, but-
organization
Right.
can.
Yes.
So it's
So-
important to
You're
share.
still helping them get the help they need.
Absolutely.
Putting
Connecting
that
the
in.
dots and
Connecting.
bridging the gap.
And to go off of what she was saying, it's like being able to get in front of all those civic organizations, whether it's Rotary clubs, things like
Yeah.
that, going in front and talking to those churches, because even going into
Right.
businesses and helping them educate their employees on, prevention, that prevention piece is so important. So being able to stop that things like before they happen, because every audience we go to, there's going to be somebody that possibly could become a survivor or already is. So no matter where what place we're in front of, there's someone there that probably needs our support.
And,
And the education piece is huge to
Right.
get into schools and talk about those healthy relationships, the
Right.
statistics, because a lot of it is not knowing. Some
Yes.
people don't, because they're normalized. Sadly, some of them are still in that cycle and they haven't broken the cycle, but they don't know because it's normal, and that's
Right.
maybe all that they've known in their family dynamics, their culture. And when I say culture, I'm just talking about family dynamics, not culture specific. But so let's start with teens. If we get in front of the schools, and we are trying to get in with schools to be able to give presentations, recognizing some people nowadays, apparently, it's the thing that youth, when they're in relationships, they share all of their passwords, they share their locations. Well, guess what? That's a form of abuse. That's control. And that could be that small, what somebody might see as, oh, well, that's just small, that's little. They might minimize it. No, guess what? It might evolve and manifest into emotional abuse, verbal abuse, financial abuse, physical,
Right.
sexual abuse.
Right.
So it's recognizing those signs and educating youth, educators, parents, Lions Club, Rotaries Club, any of those organizations, civic organizations that will have us, and we ask everybody to please reach out to us, because we are happy to be speakers to present, because it takes a village,
Right.
to have these conversations. So prevention, education, key, critical, 100%.
And so, like, those talks that you would have at schools, I'm assuming you've had some of those where you were able to go into schools and talk to the teens and stuff. And that would go in turn, that would help, because I know I saw someone ask a question, it was on social media, but like, well, how do you prevent? What's prevention? But it's educating so they can see the signs to stop something before it gets
100%, yes, and
really
not
bad.
normal, or if it is
It's just-
normalized behavior,
Yeah.
to recognize, wow, we didn't realize that was happening in my relationship with my boyfriend or my girlfriend, because it's not just women, it can be men too, and it
Yeah.
can be children too, witnessing the relationship between their parents in their household dynamics. So again, it's just knowing the signs, talking about what a healthy relationship
Right.
is, what are red flags for a abusive or an unhealthy relationship are.
then
And
what
kind
to
of
do,
being
right?
able to set those boundaries, because some of those things can be small, right? But if you
Right.
don't have the boundary part of it and you kind of just let it keep evolving, then that's when it's hard, because it's that manipulation piece, right? So it's
Wow.
the oh, well, he loves me. Well, yeah, but love doesn't always have to be the only reason why you keep someone around, because there could be the times, does the love happen after something
Right.
bad does?
Yeah.
So just being able
Okay.
to help them, like you said, just educating them to know that what some of these things can look like, because some of it might be innocent, but just being educated on it will help you be able to make the right decision.
Right. So April is a very timely time to have this conversation. Why is that?
So April, it's every month there's a recognition
Yeah.
of certain things. Child abuse awareness is one of those.
Yeah.
Our specific, even though we are tied with Child Abuse Awareness Month, is Sexual Awareness Sexual
Assault
Assault Awareness Month.
Got it.
And that's why you see a lot of teal. You see the teal ribbons,
Yes.
that we brought you
Thank
to.
you.
But so teal represents sexual assault, and it is a month for us to be able to, again, education
Yeah.
to lead to prevention.
Mm-hmm.
One of the statistics that we'll share is about nearly every minute someone is sexually assaulted in the United States. Nearly every minute. That's crazy, right? And then you think about it, every 9 minutes, that person is a child.
And that's even underreported because
Exactly.
most people don't report what happens. So
Right,
just think
yeah.
about how
Right.
that's skewed.
And some people don't even realize that they were sexually assaulted because they might feel ashamed. They might have said no, but then they were coerced into it. They are ashamed, they feel guilty.
Right.
Or one of our slogans is, your clothing is not consent. Some people might think, well, I wore a mini skirt, my jeans were too tight, my dress was revealing. So they might blame themselves, victim blaming. And we're here to tell them, no, that's not your fault. If you said no, no is no.
Right.
And it's at any stage of that.
That's
so maybe
right.
in the beginning you felt okay and then you didn't. It's like at any moment, no is no. So you can change your mind in the so knowing that even though it's like, well, I flirted earlier or I said this or that. If you change your mind at any time, that's consent follows through for the whole entire time. So,
Yep, and plain and simple.
yeah.
You say no, no is no. So with that said, I will segue into, we do have a event called Denim Day, and I don't want to hide Miss Jana. We do have, during Sexual Assault Awareness Month, it's the last Wednesday of every month, we have an event called Denim Day. We are hosting it in Seguin, so it might be a little bit of a track for everybody, but we do invite all the counties that we serve
Right.
to join us for Denim Day. So it'll be Wednesday, April 29th. It'll be at Seguin at Central Park, which is kind of like the downtown area by the courthouse. And just to give you a little bit of history of what Denim Day is. So it started way back in around 1999. So I believe it was in Italy. Yes, in Italy, there was an 18-year-old girl. She was going for her driving test, Kristen, and her instructor was a 45-year-old man. Well, he drove her to a wooded, secluded area and sadly sexually assaulted her. She reported it, which is great. 100% for the survivor for being able to have the courage and being brave enough to report it to authorities. And again, this was in Italy. He got convicted. Well, then later he appealed. And I don't have the details on like how many years he served and stuff. But at some point he did appeal. They overturned it. And do you want to know the reason and why? They said, so the court said, or they deemed, well, you were wearing jeans. Your jeans must have been too tight. So for them to come off, that meant you had to help pull them off. So that was your
my
consent.
They considered
Gosh.
consent, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Ew.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. But the sad part is that happens here. That's the reality of the world we live in. So a whole bunch of women in Italy,
movement.
but yes, rightfully so, protested on the courthourse. And well, that movement carried on to the U.S., Los Angeles, California, and great that it was sensationalized. It needed to gain traction, right? Because it needed awareness.
Sure.
So now here in the U.S., ever since then, we call it Denim Day, and it's basically saying that your wardrobe choice is not consent. So Thriving Hearts Crisis Center, we've been hosting an event every last Wednesday in April as part of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and again, April 29th, Seguin Central Park. It is a little bit of a drive, but we do ask everybody to come out, support. We'll do a little walk. That's for awareness. We have a sponsor that is, two very generous sponsors that are purchasing shirts for us, and we will have them available for sale. And again, it's for education about sexual assault. They'll be available for Denim Day.
Okay.
And we just invite everybody to come out so they can learn more. We will have speakers talking a little bit. Of course, Miss Jana too will be one of our featured speakers, but just getting those conversations, those hard conversations started. And sometimes I think we're immune, or we're from small towns, right? We're from rural America, and I mean, I'm not originally from here. I've lived here in Wilson and Karnes for several years, but I'm originally from South Texas, and we take it for granted that everybody's good. right? That we're all good, we're all kind,
Small towns,
we're
it's nice, yeah.
good human beings. But the sad part, Kristen, is that stuff like this doesn't happen in
Right.
San Antonio and Houston and Dallas only. It happens here. And that's why, sadly, I hate to say this, but Jana and I, Thriving Hearts, we're not going anywhere because there is a need
Right.
for our
support.
organization. And that's why we were founded.
Right.
So, yes.
And on the denim day part, we encourage everyone, if you can come, wear denim and teal. If you're not able to, wear that on that day, and then just make sure you tag us on social media so that way
Please.
we can just for that awareness piece. So for those of y'all that can't make it, we can always just
Okay.
fill it up with denim and teal, so we know.
That's right.
Because that's the thing is, like she said, it's that hard part for them to actually come forward. So if they know that we support them and we believe them, and that no matter what kind of guilt and things that they're having, or anytime they're feeling that way, that automatically should be something that they should look more into, because whether they feel like it happened or not, if you're already having that feeling, then there's something off, right? So making sure that we can support them, like doing all those kind of things, let them know that like their voice can be heard.
Yeah.
And like she said, those rural areas, sometimes it's harder. We all know that, like for us that have grown up in smaller towns, there's people that have been here forever, and then they're like prominent people in there. So it's things like that sometimes it's even harder in rural areas for someone to come forward, because if it's
everybody
somebody
knows everybody.
and it's so like your business is everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
being able to let them know that no matter what, we're there to support them and walk alongside them.
Nice.
And sexual assault, a lot of it happens in your own home. That is what statistics show. Most of it happens in your own home, and
know
from
the
somebody
person,
you know
Right.
is the sad part. So that's
That would
that's
make
the
it even
scary and
harder.
unfortunate
Yeah.
part. Yes, and
Yeah.
that's why it is so much harder, like Jana was saying, for people to come forward, because
Right.
it might even be their husband, it might be their boyfriend or girlfriend or wife. So it's hard to recognize, or
Yeah.
did that really happen? Because they're my partner. My partner loves me,
Right.
but love doesn't hurt. Love respects.
Yeah.
There's boundaries.
Yeah.
You say no. No is no.
Wow. This might be a good moment for me to read some of the comments.
And
We've
just
had
see
some
those questions.
So a couple of y'all have given some feedback, so let me go through this. But good mornings to all of you. Thank you for joining us, Sherry and Candace and Sharon and Nicole. Sue says, would love to see what defensive programs you run or support. Sherry mentions that they would love to have flyers at the library. So, the library here in Floresville, they've got branches in Lavernia, Stockdale.
Wonderful.
Okay. You can
Great.
spread
Thank
those
you.
to the libraries
Yes,
is a
thank
good
you.
idea. Thank
Yes.
you. And Sue also says there's a nonprofit that focuses on a framework of developing individual agency. Might have to follow up or circle back to that one later. And good morning to you, Lynette, Vicki. Great. So glad to see all of you, and y'all can look at the comments on that
Awesome.
maybe there's some other information there for you to
Happy
learn
to see the
from or
engagement.
connect.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. With that, I would say now if you could kind of focus or hone in on what can we do in the community, and maybe it's already been made obvious, but if it hasn't, or as individuals, how we can help Thriving Hearts in your efforts to help survivors.
So there's a lot of different ways. I'll let Miss Jana wrap up with the financial support. But as far as the non-monetary, so we actually have a thrift store, an amazing thrift store. I love thrifting, by the way.
Yeah.
And you all have a columnist,
Yes.
Lynette,
Yes,
that
Lynette's
frugal
fine.
fashionista.
Fashionista.
She's mentioned the Cranny many
Oh,
times. So
good.
kudos,
The
thank you,
Cranny.
Lynette, for that.
Okay. Awesome.
But yes, so love the Cranny. It is in Seguin by Boot Barn. So it used to be Tuesday morning. It's in the middle of Boot Barn and Bell's. And I know some people are like, is there a Bell's? Yes,
Yeah.
there still is. But
Cool.
so it's in Seguin. And basically, they are an extension of Thriving Hearts Crisis Center.
Nice.
But all proceeds
Right.
benefit us. So it's
great.
twofold. So you say, Bonnie, you know what? I was cleaning out my closet. I was cleaning out my hubby's and the kiddos' closets. I got a lot of stuff, and I would love to donate and give back to y'all. Guess what, Kristen? You're helping, right? Because all of that,
Yeah.
if it sells at the Cranny, those proceeds come back to Thriving
That's
Hearts. So
nice.
you're indirectly
Yeah.
helping our survivors. But then the other good thing is, what some don't realize is, whether they're non-residential or residential clients of ours, if they need anything, they can step
Get
into
it
our
at the
thrift
Cranny.
store. Yep. And if they
Yes.
can't go, like I will say in Karnes City, we've had
Right.
some, or Karnes County, we've had some that don't have the transportation to get Seguin.
Right.
Do you know what we do? We go and pick this. They give us their
Yeah.
sizes,
You go
what they
find things
need,
for them.
whether it be household
That's
items,
wonderful.
clothing,
Yeah.
jackets, shoes, and we bring that to them. So that's twofold, Then also, you don't have to donate to the Cranny if you don't want to. You can donate strictly to the shelter. And that will go to our residential, and non-residential clients that we serve too. One of the things that we always, snacks, non-perishable goods for our shelter and even for our satellite offices, fuel cards, food cards, H-E-B, Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Amazon gift cards. All those are amazing, and they can benefit us, like if we buy snacks and whatever it might be, food for our residents that are in shelter.
Hygiene items.
Hygiene for sure, yes. And we have been blessed with the community. There's here in Wilson County, there's some ladies that are very generous, and they crochet blankets for us, and so all those things. Wilson County, there's a 4-H club. Sunnyside 4-H. I was oh my gosh, it's in the tip of my tongue. Yeah. But Sunnyside 4-H, they've been amazing, and they have done, they have donated so much. Just recently for Easter, even Valentine's Day, they came up with bukus. So some of the advisors reached out and were like, hey, we want to help. We want to do something. Can you get us a list? Sure. So collectively, internally, we came up with a list, gave it to them. By golly, they called and they're like, hey, we have this stuff. We have 2 SUVs full. I'm like, what? And literally, they were not lying. There was 2 SUVs full of stuff that these kiddos had. Yes. And then for Easter, they were like, we want to do something for Valentine's and Easter's too. We had somebody in Karnes County that did that too, a sponsor. And while all names and everything is confidential, all I can say is to see the look in the families, the kiddos' eyes whenever they're getting these jackets, these Easter baskets, something that we might take for granted, right? But for them, it's like Christmas all over again. Yeah. And that really just solidifies our mission, and then our donors, knowing like, you might not see them, you will never know their names and stuff, but just know that all this, it really means something very big in the eyes and in the hearts of the clients that we serve. Wow. So that again is for. And if people don't want to go or can't go to Seguin to drop off stuff at our shelter or at the Cranny, please call us. Call me. We do have an advocate here in Wilson County. I am in our satellite office every once in a while, but we do have an advocate here in Wilson. Same if it's in Karnes or somewhere else, just call us. We will find a way. We'll meet you here at the office. Sometimes if we're in the area, we'll say, hey, we're going to be in the area. We'll pick it up. So there's, and then I'll turn it over to you for the fun stuff, for the monetary, so which we will never turn away.
And also to play off of what she was talking about with those food and gas cards, that'll also go for those immediate emergency needs that are for the clients. So those might not necessarily be us using them, but if they need a ride, a lot of that times transportation is one of the biggest barriers. And that's something that I've noticed across the board. It's not just this population. Like, as I've been in the nonprofit world, that transportation is always a huge thing. And that should never be a reason why they don't get to come to safety, or they don't get to go to, like, the police officers to talk to them, or to the hospital to take care of any exams if they need, or health things. So being able to have that gas and food cards is helpful to be able to make sure that they have the needs that they have. So especially for those, like, non-residentials and our residential clients. And then, like I was saying, like with my vision of being able to ensure that there's no, ever gaps in services, like whenever someone calls out for help, that time that they finally do have the courage, we want to make sure that we're always there. So that's when that community investment part is so important. So if you're an individual, an organization, a business that would love to be able to join us in order to work together to build a safer, stronger community, just reach out to us, because then we can find out ways that you can support and sponsor some of these immediate needs that are there for our survivors. Great. So being able to connect, and that could be, like I said, it could be, doing the youth or different organizations can even do like third-party events. If you could host a thing for an event you could do for us and the proceeds go to us. It's like so many ways that that we can be involved. So please let us know, because we can make it be where it's engaging and fits the needs of the organization. So that way there's, they get something out of the experience as well.
The market here in Floresville reached out to us. We're waiting to fine tune details, but they always choose monthly somebody, and they actually reached out to us. So, I mean, it's things like that goes back to like third-party, peer-to-peer stuff.
Absolutely.
It could be a worker group that says, you know what, we're going to have a bake sale, and we're going to donate the proceeds to Thriving Hearts Crisis Center. It could be, there's a Texas State University group that's entrepreneur business class, and they had to choose, and we're truly blessed and grateful, that to choose a nonprofit. So all the nonprofits, they chose us, and they had, we're like, oh, they should come do this for us all the time. I think they launched their GoFundMe campaign on last Monday. Was it last Monday?
Like last Tuesday or something like
Yeah,
that.
but yes, it might have been Tuesday.
Nice.
And within like 24 hours, they had like $700 and some.
Great.
That's
Yeah.
just from a
And I was
GoFundMe
like, man,
campaign.
these kids need to be our interns.
Yes, right, exactly. So it's
go.
things like that. It's, I mean, having a barbecue plate sell, just an office saying, you know what, this month or this year or this quarter, we want to help a nonprofit organization. You know, think of us. Don't forget about us.
Yeah.
And some might think we're only for women, but no, we're women. We serve men too. We've had men at our shelter, serve kiddos too. So, and again, we have a big demographics because we serve the 4 counties. So there's lots of ways to get involved and be able to help us. And while the $10,000, $20,000, $25,000 donors and grants and foundations are immensely impactful for us, $25. It all adds up because just think about it.
Right.
Us 3 do $25. That's $75 already.
Yeah.
$75 that we didn't have.
Yeah.
So there is no amount too small and no amount too big.
Yeah.
You know, and it all goes towards the safety, the healing, the hope for the survivors. So in that way, you know, hey, safety doesn't stop. And you know what? We're here and we can provide immediate needs like Jana was talking about.
Right,
There is
right.
no hiccup because we're having to wait on a grant. You know, we might have a $50,000 grant, but guess what? We might not get it immediately. So those funds, those immediate funds that we can get from
keep things
individual donors and or just individuals themselves that are like, you know what, we saw them on Wilson County News Live and we believe in their mission, we support them, and we're going to write a $20,000 check to Thriving Hearts Crisis Center.
And you'll have them do that. Wow. Well, this is a good time then to first tell me where your office is here. You said in Floresville, right?
Yes.
Where is it exactly?
So you're from here, right?
Yeah.
It's the old school.
okay.
Do you know? So we're behind the Children's Alliance.
Okay.
It's in that little square. So we're by the library. So our satellite office is it's the judicial.
Yeah, so like the the annex, the courthouse
Yes, the
annex.
The annex. That's exactly what it is.
Library and in those that
Yes.
that block
Yes,
of buildings. Got it.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And so we're in that in the back side of it,
Okay.
I guess you can say, in that little square.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
yes, that's where our satellite office
That's
is
where
here.
you're at. Okay, great.
A
And
little
then-
hidden.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're on Facebook.
Absolutely. Instagram.
Right. And I know the actual tag for Facebook is the Guadalupe Valley Family Violence Shelter. If you type in Thriving Hearts, you will also
Absolutely.
I think find
Yes. But don't get
because I
confused, 'cause
remember
it's
I
still
did. I
us.
was able
Yes.
to tag you. So okay, I saw that. Looking at my notes here. The website is thrivingheartscc.org.
Yep.
And then your phone number, which I have here. I can read it.
Yes, absolutely.
It's 830-372-2780. So those are all ways. Anything else to add in our
We
last
do have a
few
24/7, 365-day crisis hotline that is available, and I mean we are available.
And that's
so,
what that number is?
Yes,
Okay.
if you call that number, that'll
Yeah.
and so we have somebody. We have an
Right.
advocate now. If they're say on the line with somebody else in crisis, keep calling. You know, because you will get through. But we are available, and we're here. We want people to know love doesn't hurt. You should never silence any type of violence. It's not your fault. You are worthy, and there are. It's not a walk in the park to break free from a domestic violence situation, whether that is there's sexual abuse going on, stalking, human trafficking. We're here, you know, and it's okay if you don't need emergency shelter. If you need counseling, you need advocacy, you want somebody to just be a sounding board for you and to give you a safety plan, we're here because we can safety plan. Because sometimes people, they say it takes on average 7 times to be able to break
I was just
free
going to say
from
that part, yeah.
Yeah.
That we're here
And
to help
that's-
you, even if you're not completely ready to
Right.
take that step, but if we can help you to let you see, because that's the other thing is that fear of the unknown.
Right.
Even though you're in a bad spot, you know where you
What it
are and you
is.
know you're evil, right? But
Yeah.
you don't know the other side of it. So being able to, like she said, be that sounding board and support you and show you that there is other ways of supporting, and whenever you're ready,
Right.
we're there.
No judgment. We're unbiased, but we're going to tell you the hard reality of you don't want to be a statistic. You're already a statistic by being in the dynamics that you are. And it's sometimes it is really hard when there's the financial control, right? Because maybe the victim doesn't have a job. So the abuser is the breadwinner, right? And then if there's kids involved, there's the fear of the unknown and how am I going to do this, right? But we're here to tell you We promise, even though there is the fear, and that's perfectly normal to be scared of the unknowns and not knowing, like,
How's
what
it gonna
next?
work?
How is
How are you
this
gonna
going
get out
to
of it?
work?
Yeah.
You know, I promise you, your children being in that dynamics is much worse than you leaving and the fear of the unknowns, because the cycle will never be broken. And it'll just continue to manifest. And the trauma that is endured from those children witnessing,
It goes on.
Lasting.
yes,
And
yes,
then
yes.
it's a continued cycle, so
That's
it
right.
just goes generational, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're here, Thriving Hearts Crisis Center, and again, we serve the 4 counties:
Yep.
Wilson, Karnes, Gonzales, and Guadalupe. We have a crisis center, but even if you don't need residential services,
That's right.
counseling, wow, that is
and connecting you with other community partners that can
Yes.
help you that
Yes.
maybe what we can't do. So
Right.
just being that person to
Excellent.
help you to connect with whoever you need to.
Whether
Right.
it
Being
be
that
a
safe
Wesley
place.
nurse, it be
Yep.
Children's Alliance of South Texas, whether it be CASA, whether it be
Yeah.
dishes, it be WIC, it be your extension agent. There's a lot of people, you know,
Yeah.
that we have developed relationships with
Right.
and that we can connect you with to bridge the gap of what maybe is not
What you
within
need.
our umbrella. Absolutely.
Right.
But what is that sign that I have in my office? And I always refer to that of everything will be all right. So even in the unknowns,
Yes.
it will be okay. And it's better than the alternative of staying, because staying is much worse than leaving.
Well, thank you. Such a powerful message. And I know that you want to remind everybody again, just one more time, about the April 29th. That's the day that you're having the Walk for Awareness in Seguin. And you want everybody to wear denim and teal.
Yes, absolutely. So,
So-
and tag us on Facebook.
That's right. Even if you can't make it to Seguin.
Yep,
Yeah.
if you have my work cell phone number,
Yeah.
text it to my work cell phone number. If not, email it to me, advancement@thrivingheartcc.org. We want to flood Facebook with denim and teal on April 29th.
Right.
And again, thank you for reminding about that. But please, everybody, join us. It is for a wonderful awareness and education and prevention. And we hope, and we will also have community resource partners there. We have about
good.
10
Yeah,
so
figure.
far,
Okay.
give or take, that are signed up. So that'll be
great.
another outlet for them to
Yeah.
be able to see other resources that are
Right.
available to them. Maybe the healthcare marketplace,
Yeah.
other counseling too,
Good.
WIC, whatever it
Right.
might be. So dishes partners.
Cool.
So it'll be a wonderful day of
Good.
awareness, education, collaboration, networking, fellowship, and friendship.
Wonderful.
And one last thing, I just
Yeah.
want to say that, like what I was talking about, that, every person that is, at your workplace or in the organization that you're at your church, in your friend group, in your neighborhood, there's somebody there that's probably a survivor or is trying to get support. So just know that anytime that you feel a call to be able to, if you're feeling a calling now, hearing everything, please reach out to us and we'll see what ways we can collaborate, because maybe it wasn't listed in something that we said, but there's always some way that we can help spread the awareness and also the support. So just reach out to us if at any time you felt called to be able to with this.
And we're always looking for volunteers.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
that, that's a good caveat
Yeah.
too. Always looking for volunteers. It might be a little bit harder to do as much here in our satellite offices as it is in our admin and in the
Yeah.
shelter, but we will find ways, because we always, Brandon is our volunteer coordinator, and we will connect you with Brandon to
Yeah.
get you volunteered with us.
Great, great. Well, like I said, very powerful, good information today. Thank you so much for your time and being here and coming this way to sit down and have this tough talk, but that we need to hear. So we hope you share this video far and wide and that you got something out of it too. And just to wrap things up, I would like to thank our sponsor of WCN Live today, which is OBR Metal Buildings and Components, where you can literally find everything you need for your small or big projects under one roof. They're located here in Floresville on 181, and you can learn more about them at obrmbc.com. So, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time as well, and hope you join us again next Wednesday when we'll be here at 10 a.m. See you then. Bye.
Thank you for having us,
Thank
Kristen.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank y'all.